said, logically it made sense. You should just end your life. Why are we here? Where do we go? What's the point in life? And I don't have answers to any of these questions. All of these good deeds that you're doing, giving up the alcohol, praying, giving to charity, all of these things have no value unless you believe in God. Well, I don't really want to believe in God. Like, raise my hand, talking to God. If you exist, give me a sign, make it clear for me. Maybe 2015. Guys that look like me flying off to Syria, getting armed to the teeth, AK-47s. So my parents were saying, well, we don't want you to become Muslim.
Assalamu alaikum friends, welcome to another episode of a reverting story of a friend. He's converted from Christian to Islam. Watch this video and after that we will talk about the video.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, Brother Tom, for attending the invite.
No, I'm glad to be here because I get asked my story a lot, but it's always nice to share because it's a nice reminder for myself as well, comparing how things were before, how things are now. It's always nice to remind myself what I've gained.
Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Yeah, I'm from the UK, so I was born and raised south side of Manchester through to university, and then after university that's where things started to change really in my life.
How was your life regarding faith and religion in general?
I think both my parents would identify as Christian. If they had to sign like a census, they'd probably tick the Christian box, but not practicing in any way, so not going to church, only for weddings, funerals, that kind of thing. At my primary school, there was kind of a religious elements, and there was like after school clubs and summer clubs where they'd teach us the Bible, so I knew a lot of these stories and the characters from the Bible already. But then coming to secondary school, like I said, it was a very science-heavy school, and for them it was kind of a contrast, like science on one side, religion on the other, so kind of pick your side. And for most students it was the science side, because that's what the school was pushing. In fact, there were Muslim students. If anything, that kind of pushed me even further from religion, not because they were bad people, just because I could see their struggles. People would come to them and say like, do you really believe this? Like, how can you believe this? And they wouldn't have any answer. So I kind of saw it as, oh, they're just doing it because their parents want them to do it, so there's not really anything valuable in these religions. Like, it's just a tradition that if they'd been born in a Hindu family, they'd be Hindu. They were born in a Muslim family, they're Muslim. So seeing that, again, it didn't really ignite any interest in religion. That time between primary school where I kind of just accepted what I was being told, that God exists, and you don't really ask any big questions. You're just like, I was lucky, I had quite a happy childhood and no traumas, nothing like that. To secondary school where suddenly I was being told, actually, no, there is no God, and we are just a random mixture of atoms together on this rock flying through space. And obviously when you're being taught things like that, then you start to question, then what's the point in being here? And I'd kind of come to this conclusion, well, a lot of people come to this conclusion, well, as long as I'm happy, then it's worth it that I'm here. But then what if you're not happy? That's the issue. And I started to realize that more often than not, I wasn't happy. And I didn't see any point in getting out of bed in the morning. And when I looked to the future, it was kind of bleak, thinking, is this what the rest of my life's going to be like? So I was following the path of kind of logic and rationality. And in my mind, I was doing these calculations. I was saying, okay, if my purpose in life is to be happy and I'm less happy than happy, then it makes no sense to carry on living. And that was the equation I'd kind of done in my head. And to me, that was rationally, that made sense. That if you're not achieving the purpose in life, then there's no point being alive. And that's a logical conclusion if you don't believe there's any greater purpose in life. So obviously, I started toying with these ideas that, okay, why do I need to be here? Like, what's the point? And I was having these kind of thoughts. And again, like I said, logically it made sense. You should just end your life. Something stopped me at that time, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I thought I was just being a coward, that, oh, I'm too scared to take that final step or whatever. If I had a gun in my hand, I wouldn't actually be able to do it. I wouldn't have the guts to do it. And that was the thoughts that were going through my mind. Obviously now, looking back, I realised that this is the voice from Shaitan, and he's the one trying to get you to do these things, and that feeling that stopped me was from Allah. But at that time I was kind of frustrated with myself, like, why am I making myself suffer when easily I could just end it and there's not going to be any consequences to that. But yeah, definitely it doesn't get much lower than that.
What was university life like then? Because that would have been when you're growing up.
University is kind of sold to young people as like the best time of your life, right? You feel like you can do whatever you want. That's going to be so much fun. It's going to be amazing. Very soon after I got there, they started off with like a freshers week, but I remember the very first night, and I was stood there kind of in this crowd of people, and I remember looking around and thinking like, nobody cares about me here really. If I were just to walk out and a bus would have hit me and never come back, no one's even going to notice. And I kind of stood there thinking like, wow, if this is supposed to be the best night of my life, then I've been let down massively. Like, so that's why I started to think about like, well, what am I really doing here? So I made up my mind I was going to drop out of university and I was going to find something else to do because I was just wasting my time, wasting my money. I was thinking, why am I here? But when I made up that decision, there was something, again, it was just something in my heart that said, no, you need to stick with it. When I went back in the second semester, so even though I was studying English, I'd been given this chance to do some modules from other places. I ended up going to the theology department. The module that I picked up, it was an introduction to Buddhism. So that was the one thing in my mind. I was kind of like, actually, I'm quite excited to do this. And I picked it because a lot of people pick it for this reason, that it's kind of seen as not like a full religion, like you don't really need to believe in God. It's about self-improvement, mindfulness. It's seen as this very kind of nice, easy thing. The reality is very different. I didn't know that. That was one thing I focused on, meditation and these kind of things that I started to practice. But the problem was I reached kind of a natural end point where I was looking at, okay, how do I do more than I'm doing now? And the answer seemed to be, oh, you need to study one-on-one with a Buddhist teacher. And I was kind of thinking, okay, where do I find one of those? I'm in Nottingham and I'm at university. And the other thing is, it's like telling you, okay, to get to the next stage, you have to detach yourself from work. You got to detach yourself from family, friends. Like, so I was kind of thinking, like, I don't really know what to do now. I don't know how to get any further.
When did you first encounter or hear about Islam?
And it was at this time that my university, and a lot of them in the UK do this around this kind of time, February, March, they have an event called like Discover Islam. Even though I feel like I know it, I should still be kind of not so arrogant. Give it a chance, just go and listen, and then I can say, okay, I've done it, I've listened, I've given it a chance, and now I can move on. That was what I was expecting. That. So it's quite a well-known speaker, a guy called Yusuf Chambers, and he came in and he went kind of straight to the point. He's like, why are we here? Where do we go? What's the point in life? So I was sat there thinking, I don't have answers to any of these questions, so I need to kind of think about this seriously. Because even Buddhism, there is no answer. It's just kind of, don't think about it, just empty your mind, focus on the here and now. It's kind of like a challenge. What am I supposed to say to this? And after the lecture, I went out and there were some guys giving out materials and things. And one of them started talking to me and he was like, so what do you believe? And I said, well, right now I'm studying Buddhism. I'm quite enjoying it. It's like a new way of looking at things. He said, okay, so what do Buddhists believe about life after death, the afterlife? I said, well, I don't really believe this, but you're supposed to believe in reincarnation, that you come back again, and karma and all this kind of thing. He said, do you believe that? I said, no, I don't believe that. He's like, so what do you believe? I said, I don't know. And he's like, how can you not have an answer? This is literally like, what's going to happen to you, all of us? So I was like, I don't have an answer. He said, okay, read this, read this, read this. So he gave me all the materials. So I just took them and I went home and just started reading. This religion was claiming that it had all these answers and doing it in a very confident way. So I said, okay, these guys, they feel like they've got something here.
For what reason did you feel attraction towards Islam?
What first kind of attracted me to what these materials were saying was what it was describing was a very kind of coherent way of living. With Buddhism, it's all very kind of loose. So it'd say like, okay, you should meditate. But it didn't really tell you how to meditate, when to meditate, these kind of things. Whereas with Islam, it was very clear. It's like, okay, these are the times you pray, this is how you pray, this is what you say, this is what you do. And I kind of, even though previously I'd seen it, oh, Islam has too many rules, I kind of like that structure that's like, okay, I see this salat as same as what I'm doing now, meditation mixed with a bit of yoga. But the nice thing is it has a clear schedule. It's like, okay, these are the times that you do it. And if you do it at these times, then your life will be good. So I started actually even learning how to pray, making wudu, praying. But like I said, in my mind, it wasn't anything to do with God. It was like, okay, this is just yoga and meditation, same as I was doing before.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it now, fixed schedule. So like, I knew for meditation, the best time, they always said it was early morning. But there was no motivation to actually wake up because you're in your bed, you think, I should meditate now, but I'd rather just sleep. Whereas Islam, it says like, no, if you want the benefits, you have to actually do it. So I would be waking up and I'd be praying in the morning and then reading Quran after I prayed and then praying in the afternoon. And I was on it. Like,
You were doing it religiously without, okay.
To the minute, because I'd read that like you shouldn't delay the prayer. So as soon as the time came, I was praying. So like without even delaying it a single minute. And I was feeling really good. I was feeling like, okay, this is nice. It's giving me structure to my day. It's a way of kind of releasing these negative emotions, kind of combining it with what I kind of felt was like a yoga kind of thing, and like So the whole body's involved, and that was to do with like the mindfulness I've been studying. So it's kind of like a nice package that I was enjoying. But like I said, if you'd asked me, do you believe in God, I would have said no, even though I was praying 5 times a day. I just see this as like a mindfulness practice.
Okay, so like a structured regime.
Yeah.
Like someone going to the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was following these rules, and my friends saw me that I'd stopped drinking. They were asking me why. I couldn't really answer it, but I just said I don't really want to drink anymore. So a lot of these things that I saw in Islam, these rules, I started to realize, oh, they're for your benefit, not drinking and not gambling and not lying and taking care of your body and taking care of other people. So these kind of rules that people saw, they appealed to me as just like a nice guidebook to life. Okay, how to live a good, clean life. So one time I came to this verse, so I didn't really know where the Quran had come from. I thought that Muhammad had written it, that's what I thought. And I thought, okay, he knows a lot. He's a very kind of good guru for life, that he knows what's good and what's bad. If you follow him, he's kind of got it sussed. But then one of these verses in the book that I thought Muhammad had written was saying, actually, all of these good deeds that you're doing, the giving up the alcohol, the praying, the being honest, giving to charity, all of these things have no value unless you believe in God. And that kind of hit me, because I was like, well, I don't really want to believe in God. I just kind of enjoy having this nice guidebook to life. The problem was, whoever had written this book was telling me, like, whatever else you're doing, there's no point in doing it. There's no point waking up early and praying if you're not doing it without this belief in God. So I felt like I was stuck. Same with like Buddhism, where I'd reached that kind of end point. I was like, well, what do I do now? I either had to kind of give it all up, or I need to take this step and believe in God. That everything this has taught me has been true, so why not this last step? So that was kind of the first time I'd like raised my hand, because these materials were telling me, like, if you don't believe in God, but you kind of want God to show himself to you, you just raise your hands and you start having this conversation. So I did that for the first time, and I kind of remember talking to God and saying, like, okay, if you exist, then kind of give me a sign, make it clear for me, make it easy for me. And kind of step by step, I felt like, yeah, there is something there. I feel like I am kind of getting this response, obviously not verbally or whatever, but I feel like there is something there. And then from there, I felt like my prayers were improving, like, actually, oh, it's not just the meditation and yoga, there's this whole extra level that I hadn't been accessing before, that actually this is a conversation with God. And then from there, that's where my Islam journey started.
How and when did you take your Shahada?
Up until this point, I hadn't told anyone what I was doing, really. So I very much did it on my own. And there were a couple of reasons for that. First, I felt kind of shy that people aren't going to understand it. I can't really explain it. That was one part. And then there was another side as well, that based on the experiences I'd had with the Muslims at school, I kind of felt like these guys don't see what I see. What I've got, I felt like it was so pure, like it was a direct connection with God. And I felt this really strong connection, but I felt like what I'd seen with other Muslims, I didn't notice that connection. So I thought maybe if I go and meet these other Muslims, I might start to lose this special thing that I have, because I was just so happy that now I had a purpose in my life. I had a reason to get out of bed every morning. It was so different from my life before. So even though secondary school there was no challenges, everything was given to me, I was very lucky that whatever I asked for, my parents gave it to me. I had a good education, but I wasn't happy. So now, even though maybe there were some challenges, I felt like my life was so much better now than it was before, that I didn't even kind of register them as being challenges. So I kind of made this decision that I'm just going to do it by myself, and it's just going to be me and God, and we're just going to carry on like this. But then again, I faced the next problem, because again, reading the Quran, I came to the verse that said, okay, every Friday you have to go to the mosque, you have to pray in congregation. So again, I thought, okay, if it says I got to do it, then I got to do it, because otherwise, again, if you give up one part of it, you have to give up all of it. So I said, this week I'm going to go to the mosque. So on a Friday, my university had a prayer room. What I did, because again, I was feeling kind of shy and embarrassed about it. So I waited for everyone to go in, and then I kind of snuck in and sat right by the door. So I prayed, and then I just left. I didn't talk to anyone. And then the same thing again next week, same thing again the week after. I was doing that for a while, until finally, one time I went, and just as I was about to leave, this brother grabs me. He's like, "Assalamu alaikum, how are you? Where are you from?" So I was trying to edge away, but he wasn't letting me go, so I started talking to him. But then it turned out this guy, he was also a Reaver, he was also a new Muslim just for a few months. He'd come from Hong Kong. So when I met him, I kind of thought, okay, this guy, he has the same feeling that I have, so, you know, I can kind of connect with him.
Relate to him.
Yeah. But then he was like, oh, come and meet the president of the Islamic Society, and he was this British Pakistani guy, so I thought, oh, maybe he's going to be like the guys I knew before, that he's not really that interested in what he's doing. So I was like, no, I'm okay, I just want to go. He said, no, you should meet him. So anyway, I met this guy, and I met some of the other brothers. And then at that point I realized actually these guys I'm meeting here, they're different from the Muslims I met at school because they've chosen to be here. No one's making them come here. Their parents are back in London or up in Scotland, wherever they're from. So no one's forcing them to come to the mosque. They're there by their own choice. And they're there because they want to be there. So again, I noticed that same thing that I saw in this other brother, that this passion for the religion, this connection to God. So from there, I was there every day, you know, for pretty much every salat. And again, with my family, because of this distance, they weren't aware anything different was going on. Although, obviously, becoming Muslim, I remember making this intention that I need to give that respect to my parents. So I was trying to contact them more often and talk with them. Because I even remember before I was Muslim, and I'd gone out with some friends for New Year's. So we were out the whole night and whatever, came back early morning, 6 o'clock. And I remember throughout the night, my mum was messaging me like, hope you're okay, hope you're doing well, Happy New Year. And I remember having this thought like, oh, it's just my mum, it's not important, and I just ignored it. So until the next day, I woke up kind of middle of the afternoon, went down to get some food from the fridge. I noticed that there was, there was a load of garlic bread in the fridge, and I was kind of confused. I was like, so I sent a message to my mum. I hadn't responded to any of her messages like, are you okay, just checking in on you, all of this. I just responded with, why is there so much garlic bread in the fridge? That was it. And I guess my mum was used to it. She didn't complain. She just kind of got on with it. But thinking back to that, as a Muslim that I was at that point, I was thinking, wow, I can't believe I was treating my parents so badly that, you know, you just kind of take them for granted. You think they're kind of annoying. You're trying to enjoy yourself when they're trying to message you. So yeah, I'd made an effort at that point, being Muslim, to contact them more. But I wasn't telling them I was Muslim. But the point that changed actually was during Ramadan. I ended up going home for a weekend. Maghrib time was late, like 9:30, 9:45. So it's a whole day without food and drink. And it's quite hard to hide that from your parents. Like, we'd be eating lunch together, dinner together, and I'd be making excuses like, oh, I'll take it up to my room and eat it there and whatever. So they were kind of getting annoyed by that. And then one day, I was out with my brother the whole day. My parents must have asked him, like, did you see Tom eat anything the whole day? And he would have said, no, he didn't eat anything. So that was when they finally sat me down and like, well, we spoke to your brother, you've not eaten, you've not had anything, what's going on? And I said, oh, I was fasting. And they said, oh, are you Muslim? And even though at that point I was Muslim, I didn't really want to say it, so I said something like, I'm interested in Islam. I didn't lie to them, I just kind of gave that white lie that, yeah, I'm interested in Islam. So like I said, this was maybe 2015, and at this time there was a lot on the news about so-called Islamic State, you know, that's how they were advertising themselves. So you see guys that look like me flying off to Syria, getting armed to the teeth, AK-47s, the beards, everything.
And it is attracting a large number of young would-be jihadis, among them many in Britain.
So my parents, who'd been watching that, were obviously scared, and they're like, well, we don't want you to become Muslim because we're worried that you're going to go and do something like this.
Okay, they thought that you've been radicalized.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't blame them for that because that's what they were seeing on the news. So I kind of just said to them, like, don't worry about it. I'm not going to do anything like that. You don't need to worry about it. So they kind of just said, oh, we'll see. And I was like, no, it's fine, don't worry. But after that, we didn't talk about Islam again. And from there, I ended up moving overseas, living in Japan, and again, making effort to talk with them. In fact, I even got a really nice comment from my mum that she was saying, even though now you're so far away in Japan, we hear more from you than we do from your brother who's in the UK. So I felt like from where I'd been before, where I New Year's Eve.
Fulfilling your duties.
Yeah, I felt like, okay, I've made some progress, that they've actually noticed that there's been a positive change. So I felt like, okay, maybe they're starting to see that there's nothing to worry about. And it was like that for a while, that maybe 1 year, 2 years, I was in Japan, they were in the UK, we never spoke about Islam again. Suddenly one time on Eid, maybe 2017 I think, I randomly got a message from my mum saying Eid Mubarak. I think it was Eid Mubarak she sent me. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh, she's still thinking about this. Like, we've not talked about it for 2 years, but still she obviously remembered it, and that was kind of like the moment where I realized, okay, they've accepted that I'm Muslim.
Any words of advice or words of wisdom for people who might be going through something similar to you?
Yeah, for me, I'd probably just say to take things at your own pace, because there's a lot of people that would come to me and they'd kind of try and push things, but I was lucky that I'd read a lot and I kind of knew what was Islam, what wasn't Islam, because people would be pushing me, oh, you got to change your name, what's your Muslim name? And luckily I had that knowledge that I could say, like, I don't need to change my name, or I don't need to do this and that. People that would come up to me and say, like, oh, why have you not told your parents? You need to tell your parents and all of this. Like, when are you going to tell your parents? And again, because I'd read the stories of the Sahaba and their different journeys, that I knew, like, you don't have to just come out right away and tell everyone. And you don't. Some obviously do it like that, and that's fine, but others didn't. So luckily I had this knowledge that I could kind of protect myself from these people who were kind of pushing me to do things that I wasn't ready for. So yeah, I guess that's the other piece of knowledge, piece of advice, just to try and learn as much as you can, because there are things and people that might try to push you in the wrong direction or do things that you're not comfortable with or whatever. But if you have that knowledge, that at least you can kind of protect yourself. You know, actually what they're doing is cultural. Because even in Japan I would see this, that there would be groups from different countries and they'd have a certain interpretation of Islam. So when someone new came, they'd be like, oh, you have to do it like this. And I'd be thinking, actually, no, you don't have to do it like that. That's how you do it in your country, but that's not how you have to do it. Like, oh, you have to dress like this, you have to wear shalwar kameez, you have to... And I'd be able to pull these brothers aside and be like, it's okay, you don't need to do that. So yeah, I just, that'd be the two things. So just take your time with it, go at your own pace. If you want to come out and be open about it, then great. If you don't feel like, because I didn't feel like doing that, even now to some extent, then you don't need to. But yeah, try and get as much knowledge as you can, read as much as you can, watch as much as you can, so you can try and protect yourself, so you know that, okay, because Islam is very simple. You know what Islam is, and then everything else you can kind of start to judge, okay, this is what I need, this is, everything else is just kind of extra. So just for your own kind of safety protection, that you're not getting pulled in directions that you're not comfortable with. These would be my two pieces of advice.
Nice. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you. It's good to talk with you.
Welcome back, friends. I hope you enjoyed the video till the last minute. It's a so beautiful moment, so historical moment, that a brother, relieved from his old religion and now he converted to Islam. What a narrating story of this brother, that he converted from his Christianity to Islam. So as we know that the world, the fact of the world is by changing. Each and everything has changed from one shape to another. If we look into the small tree, we just build a small seed into the soil and then it grow into a small plant, then it taller, and after some time it again become a taller and it become a huge tree. So the same thing is applied on human being as well, that when a small baby is born, he is smaller in size. After that, after his nourishment and the growth, he become a kid, a child, adult, and after some time he become a man, and later on after some time become a guy. So the fact of the world is change, that there is change. The word change is come into different parts of this universe, different stories, different methods, different methodology. The same thing is on it, that whenever you have a familiar religion, so the religion show you how to live a life. Let's suppose that Islam is my religion. Islam teach me that how I should offer the prayer 5 times a day, how I respect my elders, how I respect my younger brother, how I give orders to my elders, and how I give orders to my younger brothers. The same thing is on another religion. Another religion like Christianity, Jews, Buddhism, there are so many religions, yet they have their own books. There are their teaching methods, their showing methods, how they show to their people is in another level, another type. Like for example, for Islam, there is a book, the Holy Quran. For Jews, they use Torah and the Bible. The Christian people, they use Bible, and sometimes it use another book as well. So every religion has his own book, his own method, his own teaching, his own restriction as well. Like Islam have certain things that are strictly prohibited in Islam, like drinking wine, drinking alcohol, doing matting with girls without nikah, and there are so many things. So the people who are using or who are in another religion like Judaism, Christianity, their teaching are up to different level. They doesn't give priority so many things which Islam give priority. This thing, that those things which Islam given priority, the people who are not in religion Islam, where it have no choice other than to have accepted. So those people accept the Islam when they are affected by their environment. Just took take a little look to this video, that how this person, the Tom, when he went to school, he in school there are dynamics and science. The teacher taught him like science and about life, the revolution of life, the revolution of study, the revolution of things. After that, when he come and take admission into the university and college life, there are also the gathering of the people like male and female both combined, combined classes, combined studies. They doesn't know that what are his findings. There are questions rising in the mind of a common person, that what is the purpose of my life, why I led life there, why I am not shifting to the another world. That's why this is the things that when question rises and you are unable to find the answer, so for that purpose you must have to think greater. When you think greater, you will take great opportunity, and when you take great opportunity, there will be good days coming into your life. So the same thing apply on this tomboy as well, that he suffered from things into the school level, then college, in the university, and when he unable to find his answer, he find big opportunity, and that opportunity is Islam. That when he accept the Islam, he finds several kind of answers when it come into in his mind. So that's why when you are unable to find the solution of a problem, you have to try your best. If it's possible, maybe within some time it will be solved. When if you're not solving, there will be a time will come that everyone will leave you in the problem, that you will stuck in the problem, no one will be helping you. Now this thing give more energy to your body, more energy to your body, your strength, your stamina, and then you go further and further, and you find a way that now this is the solution of my problem. So this person has a problem in his life, that he doesn't find a way that how I should survive a peaceful and a good life. So when he enter to the life of Islam, when he find Islam, after that he find a good and a successful life, and he find that how I should live a simple life, how I take the responsibility, and how I have to maintain it, how I have to solve it. For that purpose, he walk into Islam, he recite the Holy Quran, and Islam teaches us, the Holy Quran teach us the way of life, like 5 time prayers. So Islam doesn't allow you that you should offer 5 time prayer in one time, like you wake up in the morning and you just do 5 time prayer, so it's a bundle. No, Islam give you 5 time prayer, so you have to offer the prayer in his own time, in his correct time, like Fajr, Zuhar, Asr, Maghrib. So 5 times a day, it means that there will be a separate time for each and every prayer. So no burden will be on you, and you will fulfill the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a good way, in a good manner. So that's why he find a very good and a successful life. And this boy set an example for us and for those people who are not loving the nation of Islam, who are not loves the teaching of Islam. By then, if you should read the Holy Quran, if you should do a proper research on the religion, you will find that Islam is the only religion that you should only survive. I hope you enjoy the video. If you like the video, subscribe the channel and share it with your friends.